watch something new and learn something new. Welcome to your digital classroom. I am Saji Kevi and you are watching my channel, The Eureka. In the previous video, we learned that Portia was in a sad mood because she is bound by the will of her father, as she cannot marry a man whom she loves, nor refuse a man whom she dislikes. Nerissa consoles her by saying that her father was a virtuous man. Such virtuous persons have good inspirations at the time of their death. Therefore, the casket that he has designed for selecting a husband for Portia will be chosen by a right person. Now, there are many suitors that have come to marry Portia, and Portia asks Nerissa to name them, and she will describe them, and according to the description of Portia, Nerissa can make out her love for suitors. So now, let's directly go to the scene. Nerissa. First, there is the Neapolitan prince. First and foremost, the prince from Naples. Portia, that is colt indeed, for he hath nothing but to talk of his house. Yes, he is indeed a colt. He is an inexperienced person, like a young horse. He does nothing but talks about his house, and he makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts that he can shew himself, and he considers it is an additional merit that he can shew his own horse. I am much afraid, my lady, his mother played the false with a smith. I doubt, I am afraid that his mother had a love affair with a smith. Therefore, he has got such a love for horse and chewing the horse. Nerissa. Then there is the County Palatine. Next is the Count from Palatinate, Portia. He doth nothing but a frown. He does nothing but frowns, as who should say, you will not have me choose. And here his expressions show that if you do not want me, you choose someone else you want. I am not bothered about your choice. He hears merry tales and smiles not. He listens to an interesting story without a smile. He listens to a funny story without a smile. I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old, being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth. I am afraid he be like the weeping philosopher Heraclitus of Ephesus, was distressed by mankind and led a solitude life. He led a life alone in the forest. In the same way, this man seems to be so frowning and so sad that he also is like the weeping philosopher of Ephesus. And as he is so sad in his youth, he will prove to be a weeping philosopher when he grows old. I had rather be married to a death's head with a bone in his mouth than to either of these. I would like to marry a skull with the two bones crossed rather than marrying such men. God defend me from these two. God protect me from choosing these two persons. May God help me so that these persons should not go for choosing the casket. Nerissa, how you say the French Lord Monsieur Liban? Now, what you say about the French Lord Monsieur Liban? Portia, God made him, therefore let him pass for a man. God has made him, therefore let him be considered as a man. In truth, I know it is a sin to be a mocker, but why he hath a horse better than the Neapolitans, and better bad habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. Now here, I know it is wrong to make fun of another person, but he talks more about his horse than the Neapolitan prince, and he frowns more than the Count Palatine. Thus, he is every man in no man. He has the quality of every man, but he has no identity of his own. He has no individuality of his own. If Athosel sing, he falls straight capering, he will fence with his own shadow. If Athosel sings, if a bird sings, he falls and jumps up and down, dances with them. And he even draws his sword to fight against his own shade. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. If I marry such a man, I would have to adjust myself with the 20 characteristics of a person. If he would despise me, I would forgive him, for he loved me to madness. I shall never require him. If he hates me, I will forgive him. If he loves me intensively, I will never be able to return his love. I can never love him. Nerissa, what say you then to Falconbridge, the young Baron of England? Then what you say about the Falconbridge, the young Baron of England? Portia, you know, I say nothing to him, for he understands me not, nor I him. You know, he does not speak to me anything, as I do not understand him, and he also does not understand me. He hath neither Latin, French, nor Italian, and you will come into the court and swear that I have a poor pennyworth in the English. He does not speak to me because he does not know Latin, French, and Italian, and I do not know English at all. Therefore, Portia and Falconbridge cannot communicate with each other. He is a proper man's picture, but alas, who can converse with a dumb show? He is a handsome man, but how can we talk with a dumb show? How oddly he is suited. I think he bought his doublet in Italy, his round horse in France, his bonnet in Germany, and his behavior everywhere. He has dressed himself strangely. It seems to me that he bought his doublet, his coat in Italy, his horse, his breeches, he bought in France, and he bought his hat, bonnet from Germany, and he has the behavior of every person. He has no special behavior of his own. Nerissa, what do you think about the Scottish lord who is his neighbor? Portia, that he hath neighborly charity in him. Charity for his neighbor. For he borrowed a box on the ear of the Englishman and swore he would pay him again when he was able, because he received a blow on his cheek, and then he swears that he will return that blow when he is capable. I think the Frenchman became the surety and seal under for another. I think the Frenchman stood as guarantee for his swearing that he will return his blow when he is capable, and that assurance is given by getting another blow from the Frenchman. Here Shakespeare indirectly refers to the fight between England and Scotland. Whenever there was a fight between England and Scotland, Scotland always sought the help of the France to solve the issue. And moreover, it is introduced here to amuse the audience of England. Nerissa, how like the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew? Now tell me, how do you like the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew? Portia, very wildly in the morning when he is sober, and most wildly in the afternoon when he is drunk. He is very bad in the morning when he is sober, when he is serious. And he is worst in the afternoon when he is drunk. He is very bad in the morning when he is sober, when he is serious. And he is worst in the afternoon when he is drunk. When he is best, he is a little worse than a man. And when he is worst, he is little better than a beast. When he is in his best, he is no better than a man. That is to say, he is very bad. And when he is drunk, he is worst, and he is no better than an animal. And the worst fall that ever fell, I hope I shall make shift to go without him. Even if it happens the worst, I may try my level best to avoid him so that he may not choose the right casket. If he should offer to choose and choose the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will if you should refuse to accept him. And it means, if he goes for choosing the casket and he chooses the right casket, and if you refuse to marry him, you will go against the will of your father. Portia, therefore, for fear of the worst, I pray thee, set a deep glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. Fearing the worst, therefore, I request you to keep a glass of Rhenish wine, white wine, on the wrong casket. For if the devil be within and the temptation without, I know he will choose it. Even if you say, devil is there in the casket on which Rhenish wine is kept, he will go and choose that casket alone. He is a drunkard. He is fond of drinking. And if you keep Rhenish wine on the wrong casket, he will choose that casket alone. Thus, I will do anything, Nerissa. Here I will be married to a sponge. Nerissa, I am ready to do anything before I get married to a drunkard. I do not want to marry a drunkard. Therefore, Portia requests Nerissa to keep a glass of Rhenish wine on the wrong casket, and this young German definitely will choose that casket. He cannot resist his temptation for drinking. You need not fear, lady, the having any of these lords. They have acquainted me with their determinations. Lady, you need not fear any of these suitors, because they have informed me of their intentions, which is indeed to return to their home and to trouble you with no more suit, unless you may be won by some other sort than your father's imposition, depending on the caskets. And they have informed me that they are going back to their home, unless and until you can be chosen by some other means than the choice of casket that designed by your father. That is to say, they will not go for choosing the casket to marry you. If some other way it is possible for them to marry, they may try. Otherwise, they are going home. If I live to be as old as Sibylla, I will die as chaste as Diana, unless I be obtained by the manner of my father's will. Now here, Portia is an obedient daughter, and she tells, even if I were to live as old as Sibylla, the Roman prophetess, I will die like Diana, goddess of chastity, goddess of moon. I shall not marry any other way than the will of my father. Sibylla is the Roman prophetess who got a gift from God Apollo that she can live as long as the grain of sand in her hand. And she lived very long period of time. And Diana is the goddess of moon, goddess of chastity, who is considered to be pure and chaste. And Portia here wants to say that Portia will never go against the will of her father. Thus, she is an obedient daughter of her father. I am glad this passage of words are so reasonable, for there is not one among them, but I do not the very absence. I pray God grant to them a fair departure. I am glad that these suitors are so reasonable. They go away from here without choosing the casket. Moreover, I do not long anyone's presence here. I do not have any love for them. Thus, I do not want them to be present here. May God grant them a good departure. Thanks for watching my channel. Kindly subscribe my channel, like and share, give your feedback and ask your doubts without any hesitation.